It is on this night we are assembled here to acknowledge the expiration of one of our own. Catherine Emily Holloway had lived 19,721 days.
Void was very successful in utilizing the sci-fi genre to comment on why it's unfair that bad things happen to good people, I think is how the movie opens. And it captures that sadness and blame and regret that comes with mourning, and comments on the idea that no matter how far we get with technology, we're not going to be able to escape our emotional demons and burdens and painful memories of how we connect with others and ourselves. And no matter how many answers we're going to get from external questions, we're always going to have trouble answering the internal questions. And Ward did a good job of capturing that.
I thought the futuristic sci-fi world and Void was really interesting. The sort of zooming city life and just the setting I thought was cool. It kind of made me think of watching something from like Black Mirror. I was a bit confused about what was happening with their bodies, since they weren't real bodies, or maybe they were. Very confusing, but interesting overall. A cool premise.
I thought this was really, really interesting. I liked that it was set in like a definitely a futuristic world where it was, so much was controlled by technology and so much was like tapped in and fed in, but it didn't feel completely unrealistic to me. It felt really believable for that world and for how everyone was interacting with all of the technology. So I really liked that. I thought that was really well done. And then they had like a believable explanation for kind of why things were happening and why things had kind of turned into what they were. And then that of course drove and fed the end game and the story of like the only thing that humanity had left was like the brain and the mind, and this dad sacrificing himself for his son at the end. Like that's what kind of got you there, was the humanity of it all. So I thought it was really well done.
Extremely high production value, my goodness. And this world building of future cyborg bodies was enthralling for me. The CGI, the tech creation, the robot fused bodies I thought were really striking and really well executed. Had a lot of depth to it through the relationships, and I felt they were super believable. I could feel the history, the grief between them was palpable through the screen, and a really great building of the drama, and for a satisfying ending.
I just watched Void, and it was very interesting. I really liked the world that was created. It reminded me a lot of like a mix between like Blade Runner and 1984, like like that like dystopia city mixed with like the perfect utopia that's underneath is not the best. And it's a very intriguing world that was created for this one, and the visuals are very good, and the music, I really like the music as well. It was a very interesting short film. Yeah, good sci-fi short film.
This one had a particularly interesting vision of the future, with a really nice, distinct visual style, a clear narrative premise established in the film's earlier moments, and some creative use of lighting throughout the film, lots of vibrant colors that take up entire scenes. There's also a pretty strong sound design in the montage sequences, which I thought evoked a very clear, intentional mood and tone, something that's present not just in those scenes, but really present throughout the film. I thought that this one was pretty solid, thought it worked well, thought it stood out. I liked it.
I thought this was honestly as dystopian as future sci-fi dystopian can be. I think the tone was set right off the bat with the funeral. I just thought it was such an interesting premise overall that in the future, in the 23rd century, human beings are made synthetically, and the only thing that we keep that's human is our minds. I thought the story overall was, it was very well written and very well crafted. You originally think that the older father character was abusive and horrible, but as you kind of learn as the film goes, his wife was kind of dealing with a technological cancer, if you will, and he didn't know how to stop it. So when his son starts to feel the same thing she's going through, he ultimately, takes a part of himself out to heal his son. I thought it came full circle. I thought it was extremely well done and well crafted, and it was very clever, and it did not take the audience for granted, which I really appreciate. And I also really appreciate the imagination behind the way this universe was conducted. So very well done, just very great overall.
All right, I just finished watching Void, which is a very stylish dystopian vehicle that's based around a classic sci-fi idea of humans blending with technology, stretching their lifespan, conquering death, mortality in a sense. And this narrative is about a son who's discovered that his mother has recently passed after being alive for quite some time. And what's interesting about Void is that it's a much more cerebral vehicle than might come off as in the beginning. There's a lot of ruminations about life, what it means to be human, or what it means to love someone in your family and let them go. And a lot of the themes that you see are only playing out in a short amount of time, but they end up feeling very epic in scale. And the direction and the design of the film in general is actually very high quality and resembles a blockbuster type vehicle with a lot of minimalist approaches. So ultimately, you end up getting a very ruminative experience based upon a sci-fi construct that's very sleek, and that ended up being pretty enjoyable to me.